here in the Nordics is the perfect place to do so. All of the Nordic countries are in top positions of the global FTTH ranking, and the people already benefit from real future-proof broadband connections.
Yes, and what is great about here in the Nordic countries is that they don't talk about it. They just do it. This is the real difference. For instance, enabling companies to move from the big cities to the countryside. Isn't this the dream of many politicians, but also of many citizens out there?
Yes, Nadia, this reminds me about the story of the Swedish film editor who moved from the city to a rural area and now is living and working from a renovated farmhouse surrounded by wonderful nature. How he could do this? Simply, he had fiber out there. And these are just a few examples, but they show how fiber to the home can enable us to become a new generation of super citizens.
And on a larger scale, the impact is huge. Harvey, did you know, for example, that Sweden is one of the leading countries in the computer gaming industry?
I'm a gamer, but I only learned about this when we did the preparations for the FTTH conference this year. And I was really amazed when I also learned that all the top gaming development studios have big offices up here in the Nordics. This is something I just realized. Since the gaming industry is now bigger than the Hollywood film industry, will Stockholm maybe become the next Hollywood?
Well, maybe we'll soon see the word Stockholm in big, bright letters on a hilltop somewhere around here. But speaking of Sweden, here is another example. A lot of European countries, cities, would be happy to have just one properly functioning LTE mobile network. Well, right here in Stockholm, they have 4 of those. How come? How does this work? Well, because mobile operators also benefit from the fiber availability. And this is a great win-win situation for the fixed and mobile operators because they offer complementary services. And who is the real winner? The end user, like Sven, because they benefit from the availability of top quality and top level speeds everywhere they go.
Nadia, I really see we are getting enthusiastic about the positive approach and the positive effects of FTTH here in the Nordics. But let's now hand over the podium to those who make this possible up here, to the political leaders, to the decision makers. And there's just one detail before I introduce the first speaker. Sweden has a ministry dedicated to information technology. For the non-Swedes in here, just ask yourself quickly if your country has something similar in the government. Sweden has it, and we are really proud and we are honored to have the Swedish Minister for Information Technology and Energy here with us. Welcome, Ms. Anna-Karin Hatt, here on stage.
Thank you so much. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor for me to open this conference during which I hope you will have plenty of fruitful discussions, meetings and networking. First of all, welcome to Sweden and welcome to Stockholm. And if I might say so, I think you have indeed picked a very fitting location for this conference, showcasing for a better future. Because I believe that Sweden has been able to develop some quite interesting best practices that I hope that you will bring back as inspiration to your home countries. In 2009, the Swedish government adopted the Swedish broadband strategy. The aim of that strategy is that 90% of our households and businesses should have access to at least 100 megabits per second by 2020. The key strategy to reach that goal is to create a very market-driven approach. But equally important is the public funding we provide in rural areas where the market operators do not have any interest to invest. Because of this strategy, and because of the public funding we provide for rollout in our sparsely populated areas, we today have small fiber to the village organizations in many parts of Sweden. Often they quite literally do their own digging in order to cut their costs. To stimulate this development and to roll out high-speed broadband all over the country, the government has allocated around 250 million euros for broadband deployment in areas where the market has no interest to invest. In 2009, when we set out the goal of 100 megabit per second to 90% of the households and the businesses, many perceived that as a very bold target. But today, our agency, the Swedish Post and Telecom Authority, says that this goal is really within our reach. According to the latest statistics, 53% of Sweden's households and businesses have access to at least 100 megabit per second, a high number that is rapidly increasing. And the data presented by the Fiber to the Home Council at this conference show that last year alone, over 500,000 Swedish households have been given access to fiber. To me, that is truly an impressive figure. But this survey also indicates that Sweden faces at least two challenges. First of all, with 2.7 million out of 5 million Swedish households covered, most of our low-hanging fruits have been picked. The next 2 million households will be more difficult and more expensive to cover. The second challenge is the penetration rate. If we shall be able to reap the full potential and benefits from the fiber rollout, more households have to subscribe. And I hope that this conference will provide us in Sweden with some insights on how to address these two challenges, because they are key to our modern society and they do have a clear impact to Sweden. Recent studies from the Swedish company Ericsson and from Chalmers University in Gothenburg have shown that when broadband penetration rate increases by 10%, our GDP increases by 1%. But speed matters as well, because with higher speeds, the economic activities increases, which means more businesses, new services, higher levels of employment, and increased wealth. So, and this shouldn't come as any surprise to any of you, your work and this conference deal with very important issues, namely how to increase the well-being of our countries. And if we turn our eyes to Europe, this is a matter of urgent interest. Today, in many parts of Europe, countries lag behind in fiber deployment. To remedy this, the European Commission has presented their proposal to reduce the cost for deploying high-speed broadband networks. And I really do welcome all initiatives that will make it easier and more cost-efficient to roll out broadband. And Sweden really shares that ambition. But we also have some concerns about that proposal. Firstly, we do consider that a directive would be a more appropriate measure than a regulation, since that would give the member states flexibility and the possibility to adjust to existing national laws in a way that best meets the needs of the different member states. Secondly, we need to assure that the directive will be compatible with the protection of property rights. I therefore welcome and I really look forward to the continued discussions about this proposal during this spring. High on the agenda during this year is also the issue of Internet's governance. And I would like to share some of my views on that issue. I know that there are countries around the world who want to see a state-led governance of the internet. Sweden is for sure not one of those countries. And let me elaborate a little bit on this. You all, every one of you, represent important parts of the internet society. The contribution every one of you make in building our common internet is important and recognized. Other parts of industry and business make other, also significant contributions. The internet technical communities, the civil society, the academic institutions, all make significant contributions to the development of our common internet. And governments too contribute in building our common internet. And we all make great use of it. In fact, we are all stakeholders in the development of internet with legitimate interests and points of views that we want to and need to be able to pursue and protect. To me and to Sweden, the only logical and sensible way to continue developing the internet is to protect and develop the multi-stakeholder model of decision-making we already have. A model that has been tried and proven to work. The multi-stakeholder model has proven successful in helping us transforming our economies globally, regionally, locally. It has proven successful in giving people the opportunity to exercise their freedoms and express their democratic aspirations. Sweden's support for the multi-stakeholder model is rooted in our firm belief that this is the only model that will continue to generate technological developments and solutions for the future, and at the same time preserving the open nature of the internet. If we want to preserve the multi-stakeholder model, we need to understand some things very broadly. The revelations of the capacities and activities of the NSA is not a reason to abandon our multi-stakeholder model. It is quite obvious that there are some who have a clear interest in muddling the issues of surveillance and internet governance. But to be very clear, these are very different things. We need to be very clear when we speak of principles for behavior between governments and when we speak of the management of internet resources like names and numbers. These issues will be some of the things discussed in Sao Paulo in April, and I really do hope that we can keep these issues separate. And I hope that we are all willing to defend a global, accessible, transparent and robust internet that is characterized by freedom and respect for human rights and privacy. Because we know that the internet that we have gotten accustomed to and sometimes been taking for granted is not appreciated by everybody. In fact, our open internet has some quite powerful enemies. We cannot afford to take internet for granted anymore. We need to take this opportunity to discuss with our like-minded partners, and we need to reach out to our slightly less like-minded colleagues around the world. The open internet is a fantastic tool for democracy, for business, and for new friendships. During the years, internet has served us well and given each and every one of us so much. Now it is time that we all take our time to consider what we can do to keep the internet this way. It is, ladies and gentlemen, payback time. Thank you for your attention, and once again, welcome to Stockholm and welcome to Sweden.